In my October videos, I analyzed why Modi was keeping a low profile and predicted exactly when he would come out to perform again. The reason for his low profile was that Trump and U.S. officials constantly humiliating India on various occasions. For example, Trump confirmed that India's Sindoor operation was a major defeat. The New York Times, CNN, Fox News, and other media mocked the Indian government for fabricating fake military achievements. Vance said India's war has nothing to do with the U.S., and Scott Bessent said India is unimportant and not a major global player. Even more humiliating, the U.S. imposed tariffs twice, slapping 50% punitive tariffs on Indian textiles and tightening H-1B visas. Trump issued an ultimatum demanding that India accept his trade blackmail, but the Indian government could not agree openly, so it could only talk tough on the surface while gradually surrendering behind the scenes. I even accurately predicted in those videos that Modi's best time to perform would be December, during the U.S. Thanksgiving to Christmas holiday season, when the festive mood would put Trump in a relatively good mood and make it easier to cut deals with the U.S. without facing massive political pressure. By December, China-U.S. negotiations will have long been concluded, and whether a truce is reached will give India, this two-headed snake, a clear expectation so it can adjust its position. Those videos are in my old India playlist. Any skeptical new viewers can check for themselves. I am not trying to show off the accuracy of my predictions. I just want to say that I know this skirt-wearing man who poorly imitates Mussolini far too well. This clown has no real ability and only knows how to brag. Whenever he faces strong pressure, he chooses to surrender. For example, after China imposed severe rare earth sanctions and export controls on industrial raw materials and key components, Modi hurriedly visited China, kissed Xi Jinping's ass in Tianjin, and made substantial concessions on the border, no longer daring to provoke China. When Trump and his colleagues kept humiliating India, Modi chose silence, not daring to voice any opinion, and instead let clowns like Commerce Minister Goyal and Foreign Minister Jaishankar protest on his behalf. The result was that these clowns grossly overestimated India's strength, talked a lot of big talk, and brought even more humiliation to India. In the Gaudy media news presented by Palki Sharma and others, Modi first only appeared on the cover with no actual footage. Recently, his footage has increased, and he has started giving speeches and bragging again. The reason is simple. He has already signed agreements to buy U.S. LPG and open part of the agricultural market. Some of America's demands have been met. Indian domestic public opinion is not paying attention to these news items because it is distracted by the New Delhi attack incident and state elections in Bihar and elsewhere, so his pressure has been greatly reduced. Now he can make further concessions to the U.S. and lick Trump's ass clean. That way the Trump administration may reduce tariffs on India, and as soon as the tariffs are lowered, he will immediately become the savior of the Indian people. To prepare for that, he first needs to warm up and return to the media spotlight. Some local Indian media have already noticed Modi's shamelessness. Some hardliners are furious about Modi's substantial concessions in the border areas and accuse him of compromising with the Chinese who killed Indian soldiers, calling it a disgrace. However, they cannot compete with the resource-rich and high-traffic Gaudy media. After a short break, Palki Sharma has returned to work full of energy, continuing to brag and lie while praising Modi and the BJP. In her program, she claimed that Modi is planning to make India a nuclear power superpower and become a major player in nuclear energy alongside the US, Europe, Russia, and China. In that video, Modi once again proudly raised his index finger while speaking, intoxicated with his clownish expression, as if he had become the South Asian Mussolini again. In reality, India has only 7 nuclear power plants nationwide, and their generating capacity is far behind that of the US, China, Russia, and Europe. In nuclear power technology, China, Russia, and the US are at the very forefront. China's third-generation nuclear technology has begun large-scale installation. The number of nuclear plants under construction ranks first in the world, far ahead of everyone else. The US and Russia maintain the lead in fourth-generation SMR technology, while China has gone even further, Like Russia, it has already achieved SMR grid connection. And China has also completed grid-connected power generation tests with a thorium-based molten salt reactor, conquering the most cost-effective and safest technology for nuclear power generation. China and India both have abundant thorium reserves that can last for centuries. But India's nuclear technology is stuck at the second generation and simply cannot utilize its own rich thorium resources, so it must import expensive enriched uranium. Its pressurized water reactor technology has a huge gap in safety and efficiency compared with third-generation technology. Compared with the fourth-generation nuclear technology that China, the US, and Russia are pushing forward, especially China's thorium-based molten salt reactor, India is 2 full generations behind. So why is Modi choosing to make a high-profile comeback by bragging about nuclear power technology? I already explained this in a video a few days ago. Go back and watch the one where I talked about Russia suddenly becoming willing to transfer Su-57 technology to India. I clearly said at the time that Russia is also willing to transfer nuclear power technology to India. Let me add now, the technology to be transferred is most likely third generation, because the Russians have already mastered fourth-generation nuclear technology with experimental projects running. Russia is short of money. Putin will visit India in December. And if my guess is correct, Modi is preparing to fully return to Russia's embrace and call Putin daddy. The crushing defeat of the Indian Air Force made him realize that relying on the West is unreliable. The Americans will not sell F-35s. The Rafale cannot even handle the J-10, let alone the J-35. Once Pakistan confirms it will equip the J-35, the pressure falls on the Indian Air Force. Modi no longer has time to consider the real technical level of the Su-57. India must have a fifth-generation fighter. Otherwise, public opinion pressure will cost him a huge number of votes and possibly even his regime. Therefore, embracing Russia is almost the only choice. The Russians have always been friendly to India in the nuclear field, in sharp contrast to the US. Russia has even leased nuclear submarines to India in the past. The propulsion technology for India's INS Arahant comes from obsolete Soviet-era Russian technology. So they are letting Modi warm up now in advance, so that when Putin visits India in December, the two countries can reach a series of cooperation agreements. Modi can harvest more political achievements, and the BJP can gain more support. Of course, there is an added benefit. Cooperation with Russia will give Modi more bargaining chips to negotiate with the US. Make the Americans lower their demands, and give India better tariff treatment. If both goals are achieved, Modi will once again become a hero. BJP fans will go crazy with joy, and the whole country will celebrate for a month. The cruel fact is that after 11 years of Modi's rule, India has gone from a country with an independent foreign policy system to a clown swinging left and right in the cracks between great powers such as China, the US, and Russia. In particular, the ruthless contempt and humiliation from the US and China have swept away India's international prestige to the ground with no dignity left. The lesson Pakistan taught India has made India a global laughingstock. All the countries around India, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, are moving away from India and toward China. India has in effect been encircled. Especially the iron anti-India triangle formed by Pakistan, China, and Bangladesh has left increasingly little room for this clown Modi to perform. But honestly, if this clown stays on stage and continues to weaken and divide India, it may not be a bad thing for the rest of the world. After all, a weak and divided India is conducive to permanent peace in South Asia. Keep going, Modi. Keep going, BJP.